Georgia, drivers and fans are addicted to the dirt. Mud flying in the air. Competition on the track. This Georgia red clay is a playing ground for speed. Dirt track racing is the most common form of auto racing in the country. Georgia alone home to 8 professional tracks. There are new racers on the track like 14-year-old Brett Holmes.
That's part of it, buddy. Don't worry about it.
We'll get it and fix it.
Wait till you've raced as long as I have and come out here and do it.
Learning from a living legend, Chickamauga, Georgia's own Dale McDowell.
Cruising into 3 on up for your Dale McDowell.
There are many who grip the wheel, but in the sport of late model dirt track racing, Dale McDowell is an icon.
Dale's won just about everything in our sport.
Dale has won the Dixie Shootout in Woodstock 3 times and has taken the checker flag in just about every state on the tour, including the World 100 at Eldora in Ohio, known as the Daytona 500 of late model racing. Of course, sometimes the victory comes bittersweet.
Shannon Babb actually won the race and was light, and so I ran second. I led a big part of the race, but Shannon won it and was light at the scales, so I was declared winner. So I was actually the first loser, so running in second, but ended up winning the race. So it wasn't quite as sweet, you know, as if we would have won it outright, but it's kind of like somebody having a flat tire on the last lap or hitting the wall on the last lap and, you know, being in position to win it. But that was a big win for us in 2005, the World 100.
Put your hands together for Dale McDowell.
Born into a racing family, Dale's been at it since he was 15. He's a perennial top 10 driver in the world of late model dirt track racing. Going back into the early 90s, Dale has amassed nearly 50 victories on the professional circuit and has no plans to slow down.
Dale's one of those guys that's probably way better than he gets credit.
Marshall Green retired from racing in 2006, but won the Dirt Track World Championship in 1997, and he's a longtime friend of McDowell. Both Southern drivers who grew up in the sport.
Marshall Green will win. They're banging for
I think a lot of people feel like that it takes just tons of nerve or attitude to drive race cars, and actually I think what it takes to be good is a passion for the sport.
Well, a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, a lot of support. We couldn't do it without, you know, our sponsors and the people that have helped us along, because it is very expensive once you actually start moving up the ladder, even in dirt late model racing. You know, it's hard on the families to travel and do some things, you know, but once you get out and run all the racetracks you can, it just makes you a better racer. You go through highs and lows, extreme highs, extreme lows, you know, and it's a struggle and a fight. That's what makes it addictive. A lot of your top NASCAR drivers started out on dirt, so the dirt track experience helps them, and it's more of a grassroots type, you know, situation. It's a lot cheaper, you know, money-wise, to actually run a dirt car and then move on up to asphalt. But I think everyone pretty much, if they start out here, you know, their ambitions is really to go to the top, which is, you know, go to NASCAR. So, you know, a lot of dreams start, you know, right in this area and at these local racetracks.
Between the Lucas Late Model Dirt Series, Have at Tampa, and the World of Outlaw Series, professional dirt track competition can be watched in over 20 states. And Marshall Green has found through his many years' experience on the track that Southern and Northern drivers take a different approach to the sport.
When you race in the South, you know, you grow up racing around your heroes, and the last thing you ever wanted to do was hit one of them. In the South, it's always been like a very gentleman respect the way you race. And when you get out on the road and start racing up north, these guys just run over you and don't think twice about it. So you've got to kind of learn to race, you know, not really your location in the world as much as just the people that you're around. And that's where the old saying, you know, you race people the way they race you, treat people the way they treat you. That's sort of the way it is on the racetrack. You learn who you can race clean with and who you have to sort of rough up when you get around them.
On the track, drivers not only adjust to the competition, they adjust to the dirt itself.
When you go to these dirt tracks, you know, the small ones, the cars really run sideways because the corners are so sharp. So anytime you have cars running sideways, you know, it's just an estimate or a guesstimate is what we call it sometimes, is how far the cars are going to slide. So when you have that, you know, most of the time they'll slide into each other and just produce a lot of excitement for the fans.
Georgians like Dale learned on the Georgia red clay at tracks like Rome Speedway, known as the fastest half-mile track on dirt, and Dixie Speedway in Woodstock, home to Saturday night racing in the Lucas Oil Dixie Shootout in October. Mickey Swims and his family have run these two Georgia tracks for over 50 years.
The crowd seems to like dirt better. When we had the asphalt track here, we couldn't pay our bills. Well, the car count tripled, the fans tripled. It's a brick clay, it's a special dirt. I've never seen anything like it. It comes from Rome.
There's also Boyd Speedway up on the Georgia-Tennessee border, a smaller track, but one McDowell calls home. Dale, his brother Shane, and fellow late model racer Ray Cook run a driving school for everyone from beginners to professional drivers aiming to get an edge on the competition.
We all started the school and you know, just as a service to, you know, some of the guys that would come through at that time, just to try to speed up their learning curve. And it has actually progressed and grown tremendously. So a lot of times we have young, really young guys, like we're going to have here today, working with later, actually started out in go-karts and then went to bandoleros and then went to legends.
Brett Holmes is on his way up. Still young at 14, Brett is learning from Dale, learning the feel of his car, learning to handle the dirt surface as it changes from damp to dry, and like all great drivers, learning the extreme limits of his car.
The only thing that'll cause it to spin out off the corner is wheel or throttle and brake, and then just releasing the brake and it just giving it too much rear tire. So just run you a couple laps, but right there it's just binding up. Just let it float, your entrance is good. You can drive out down the back straightaway a little bit wider, run you a couple out, then we'll pull in and I'll ride you in a two-seater so you'll know where your limits are. The biggest thing in what you're doing with a dirt car is going to be the same thing as the asphalt stuff as far as what your hands are doing, but the only thing different is we can make the cars, the dirt cars, do things with the brakes where you can't the asphalt stuff. You get to this point right here, let's say you release your brake right in here, and when you go to these places, pick you a center line. I want to hold my brake to that point, let off my brake, and roll to my throttle at that point.
For the folks at home sitting over on the right side, you don't do that in a dirt late model. A standard dirt late model, this being a two-seater, allows you guys to ride on the right side there with us. What we use this two-seater for is actually just to give the students a technique of where to brake, where to let off, you know, a long corner, high bank, low bank, a short, tight corner, because allowing them to ride over there where you guys are riding now, to watch my feet, watch my hands, and for me to be able to communicate with them while we're on the racetrack.
Dale sees true potential in Brett, and from every spin out or crash, a lesson is learned. Lessons that many NASCAR drivers will admit they are still learning today.
We actually got tied into the NASCAR world through Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart's a friend of ours, and he does that special race up there for charity at his speedway, at Eldora Speedway there in Ohio. And so he actually sent a couple of guys down. You know, we worked with Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin. You know, a lot of the NASCAR guys, Ray Evernham, Bill Elliott, got to expand our program, and plus we've seen where it actually can help the young guys on their learning curve. You know, I'm proud to be a part of the sport. It's been good to me. The race fans, without you guys, it wouldn't be possible for these local racetracks, local dirt tracks to make it.
It's genuine passion and ultimate understanding of the sport that makes a successful racer. Guys like Dale McDowell have dedicated their lives to dirt track racing, and as thousands of fans can attest, when you catch legends like Dale at the track, be prepared for a high-speed, mud-slinging spectacle.